you life's going to hand you life's going to hand you the opportunity to change your family's life forever. One opportunity. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Another Sunday market outlook. All right, I'm going to tank top. I know I'm going to have some comments here, and the only comment I'm going to have is from my parents who watch the stream regularly, and they're going to call me and say, Roy, how are you running a financial services stream while wearing a tank top? It's unprofessional. I'm going to tell you this the same way I would tell them. The whole beauty of being a trader is you are your own boss. I'm in charge of myself, and I'm going to wear whatever. I'm ready to get I'm ready to get demonetized on YouTube here. I'm going to wear whatever the fuck I want to wear. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back to another Sunday market outlook. We're going to go through market news. We're going to go through all of the what is it called? Releases, the data releases for the week. Show you kind of the highest impact news. I mostly trade USD pairs or only trade USD pairs, so that's why I filtered the news calendar. But of course, you guys can go to forexfactory.com. If you trade any other currency pairs, you can go ahead and include those in your news outlook. I'm sticking to the USD. We got a very packed week. We have Jerome Powell testifying in front of the Monetary Policy Committee, or the Senate Banking Committee, excuse me. It's the semi-annual monetary policy report. So twice a year, the Fed goes in front of the Senate and the House, gives a little canned testimony. Their strategy is very simple. Get Jerome Powell as tired as humanly possible and then ask him the hardest questions so that he cracks and can't, how do I say this? He can't just go back to his pre-canned speeches. He has to answer them honestly. It's going to be 4 hours of a bunch of BS. Every congressman and senator is going to try to get their 30 seconds of fame because their constituents back home are only going to see that little clip of them bullshitting and asking Jerome Powell some hard questions. And so it's going to be a bit of a waste of time. But the strategy of getting someone very tired, aka like torture or interrogation, getting someone unbelievably tired and then asking them honest questions, it works. So around 2 or 3 hours into the hearing, can we get Jerome Powell to potentially admit that he's not cutting rates? Can he finally say it? And can we finally get the correction so I can stop worrying about the next market crash? We'll see. So Tuesday, he's in front of the Senate, and I believe Wednesday he's in front of the House Financial Services Committee. Now, in case you guys don't know, I worked in Congress for 2 years. 1 year as an intern, 1 year as a legislative assistant for a congressman. Basically, my job was to do all the stuff they didn't want to do, show up to all the hearings and take notes when they didn't want to, create the blueprint or the notes for the hearings that didn't really want to attend. Uh, yeah, so it's not as fun as it looks, but I'll tell you exactly how this works. The congressmen aren't generally prepared for the hearing. They'll have a legislative assistant like myself do research on the hot topics that their constituents want to hear from, ask 2 or 3 hard-hitting questions that would look good on the local Channel 5 news when they clip it up, and then make sure they get their minute and a half of fame so they can get reelected by their constituents. Chief of Staff approves the questions, so I would write the questions. Chief of Staff would approve them, and then you would have the congressman read them the morning before the hearing, if they read them at all. They might read them in the back room before they step out there. So these people don't give a shit. They're asking very hard-hitting questions, not because they care, because they're trying to get their 5 minutes of fame and they're trying to get reelected. So it's all a giant sham. What I'm looking for is you get a man tired enough, especially at Jerome Powell's age, and you start asking him hard-hitting questions, he might let a few Freudian slips through, and that's my edge. Understand? Put a one in the chat if that makes sense. Might be high level for some of you guys. If it is, sucks to suck, right? It could be better. It could be worse. Roy, have you seen the movie In Time 2011? Are you talking about the Justin Timberlake one? I really hope you're talking about that movie, bro, because that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Anne says, good morning from Kenya. It's 2:42. Anne, I appreciate you joining us. Good morning on Monday, and congratulations for investing in yourself and getting some genuinely good information. Ray, Viva Mexico. Good morning. Or he said good evening. What's up to you? Chris, Nala, good to see you guys here. We got Gabe, Alan, Janae, Max, Bryce, Amanda. Good to see you guys here in the chats. Gonzalo, Will, good to see you. Pip Syndicate, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So first Tuesday, so tomorrow, very dry. Don't care. We have parliamentary elections in France. In case you guys don't know, this year, 2024, is historically an unprecedented year because there's the most amount of elections globally than has ever been at the same time. So you have the most amount of national elections. So you have Putin getting reelected, and Iran, they're doing elections right now. By the way, Iran just extended their election date by 3 days. Sus, right? Reminds me a lot of COVID, of the Democrats extending the deadline. The only people that do that are North Korea, Russia, and Iran. But that has to be a coincidence, right? We would never implement, you know, fascist policies here in order to rig an election, right? I've had friends cheat in mindless children's games like Monopoly for no money at all and for no stakes at all. Surely no one would cheat for all the power in the fucking world, right? Anybody that's saying there wasn't election interference is a fucking moron. Let's be completely real, okay? Because trust me, we've all had people in our lives cheat at mindless children's games with nothing at stake. And so if you don't think that people would cheat for trillions of dollars, then you're out of your mind, okay? That aside, this year is unprecedented because of all the elections. Now we have French parliamentary elections. Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister of Great Britain, just got ousted, if I can use a, for lack of a better word. We have the Labour Party making a huge comeback in the UK. So I talked about this on the last stream. There is a push towards populist leaders. Okay. If liberals don't secure their country, populists will. This is the ramifications of 4 years of hell. Okay. So we have a lot of elections. The board is shifting. And if you don't keep your eyes on the three-card Monty, you're going to lose track of what's what and who's who. So when in doubt, zoom out, keep a 30,000-foot view. The elections are all sort of happening, and the main theme is populists are taking over and liberals are eating dog shit. Okay. Thursday, we have core CPI, monthly CPI, and annual CPI. So, of course, inflation has been the number one topic of the last 3 years. You can't print $12 trillion and not basically devalue or debase the value of your currency. So that's what we're dealing with. Obviously, Biden took over. Inflation was around 5.5%. Bidenomics is the act of printing trillions of dollars in the middle of an inflation crisis. Ah, fuck. Nobel Prize for that one, right? Best decision. This might go down as the stupidest decision a president's made in the history of the US, right? You might have had a couple Jimmy Carters in there. You can throw a couple of those in there for some of the destabilization of Iran, whatever. But I'd say printing $7 trillion with a 6% inflation rate and an unemployment rate that was still around 7% post-COVID, I'd put that as one of the dumbest things we've ever done as a country. But it's okay. Gen Z, millennials listening to this, we will have to pick up the slack and pay 70% tax rates to basically pay off the interest on the debt. So we got a good 30 years going for us, right? Right? Yeah. Don't want to be a negative Nancy, but this is a genuine concern of mine, which is the tax rate over the next 10, 15 years. So get rich quick. Otherwise, you're going to have a pretty hard time getting wealthy in a country that is taxing your income at 70%. Okay. Annual CPI, big deal. Let's see the expectations. We have 0.2% growth, 0.1% growth on a monthly, and then we have weekly unemployment claims, which obviously every week they come out. Here's the deal. Inflation has been coming down significantly, and the last inflation print that came out was pretty solid. 3.3% was the previous print. Getting back down to 3% is historical lows. If we can go to the Federal Reserve website and you guys can just bear with me for 1 second. I know this stuff is not fun, but uh, this is genuinely important. I want to make sure that I back up the statements I'm making with the actual chart here. Sticky. Nope. Come on, bro. Stop fucking around. Uh, all consumers, city average. Okay. Sticky inflation, by the way, is stuff that sticks around. And so my barber is not going to lower his price for the haircut. Once I paid him 40, he's never turning back. Okay, that's sticky inflation. It's going to be here regardless of supply chain constraints, regardless if the Fed lowers interest rates or any of that stuff. So that's why the other chart was irrelevant. I'm trying to find the city average here for all urban consumers, which is pretty good metric. Okay. So let's look at the max here. What the fuck, dude? I want the rate. This is giving me the overall number, which is in hundreds of billions. I'm looking for the percentage rate. CPI rate. Median consumer price index. Oh, here we go. Finally. This is the growth per period. So this is exactly what's coming out this Thursday, which is the percentage month-to-month growth and then the annual percentage growth. And so this is not the total number. This is the percentage. So on the lowest end, when the economy is not performing, you have negative numbers. You don't want a negative inflation rate. You guys can see what happened in '08. You guys can see what happened in 2020 during COVID. Negative inflation is what Japan is dealing with, where your economy is so bad that everything is just losing value because it's worthless. Not because you have such an efficient economy that prices are coming down. Okay, so the lower bound of this is negative 0.5%. The higher bound of the inflation numbers is around 0.5% growth month over month. So, or 1.1%, excuse me. So let's look at when we had the inflation crisis right here, 1.3% growth month over month. And then we start to bottom out, but we still are expecting a pretty high number, which is 0.2%. So Jerome Powell was on stage the other day talking about how we're getting inflation down meaningfully, and by 2025, we'll have hit our inflation target of 2%. How are you going to bring inflation down when it's still growing on a month by month basis? This positive number means that it's still growing, right? So there, like the lies are starting to become obvious. Powell's on his way out, 4.5 months. Trump gets elected, Powell's out of the job. We have to look at the data in order to tell the truth. Inflation is coming up. I do see a recession happening in Q4 leading into 2025. I'm sorry this took so long, but I had to obviously show you guys the chart here first to show you the historical average high and the historical average low. If you're looking at 0.5% or 0.5% month over month growth in slow times, and now we're looking at 0.2% on a regular month where Jerome Powell is claiming that inflation is coming down. Obviously, it's a lie, and inflation is way higher than what they're telling us. And this whole idea that we're going to get rate cuts this year is all bullshit. And because inflation is so high, we're going to have to basically keep rates higher for longer, which is what Jay Powell has been telling us. Okay, Steve said, agree, one of the greatest movies of all time. Good stuff. Not 70% is outlandish. Imagine paying that much. Well, here's the theory that Peter Schiff, the gold investor, had just recently promoted. What would we all do as Gen Z and millennials if there was a administration for 4 years that was extremely liberal and wanted to raise tax rates to 70%? I'm telling you, I'm going to Puerto Rico. I'm going to Dubai for 4 years, coming back once they goddamn get their head back on straight. The cost to renounce your citizenship was $50 to fill in the application. Now it's, I believe, $5,000. Okay. So imagine if it was $50,000. Why am I saying that? In order to leave and revoke your tax responsibilities in, let's say, Dubai, you have to renounce your US citizenship. So they're going to make it financially impossible to renounce your citizenship, lock people here, because regardless of if you're a US citizen, and you go to a foreign country to make money, the IRS needs their cut. You are responsible for paying US taxes as well. Okay. There's a few, what do they call them? Safe zones or whatever they are, Dubai, Puerto Rico, and some of the rest, but there's stipulations. With Puerto Rico, you have to live in the States for 6 months, Puerto Rico, 6 months. Dubai, you have to revoke your citizenship or rebuke your citizenship, whatever the fuck the saying is. Could the government force people to stay in this country so they have to pay taxes or to keep their citizenship? I think that's the future. I think that we're going to have marginally high tax rates of 60, 70%, just like Canada, because they had a bunch of socialist government programs that they had to finance. They raised tax rates. Businesses left the country and their country went to fucking communist hell. And Trudeau's about to get eaten alive by Poilievre and the Labor Party movement. So I think that in this country, we have printed so much money and incurred so much debt. This year, we're going to have an interest expense of $750 billion. Next, by the end of the year, it might be a trillion. In the next 2, 3 years, it's going to be $2 trillion. Okay. We're running a deficit right now in the government of $1.6 trillion. We have now spent as a government in 2024 $1.6 trillion more than what we're bringing in tax revenue. The only way to finance the interest expense on the debt is to either print so much money that you inflate the debt away, right? So that you basically have so much extra money sitting in the piggy bank. You lower interest rates, and you can basically just pay the debt off with devalued money, debased currency. That's what I feel like these liberal modern monetary theorist people are going towards, which is a fucking disaster, right? The only other excuse or the only other way to get us out of this is our generation, Gen Z millennials, pay 60, 70% tax rates. They make it impossible to revoke your citizenship, so you have to pay it. So if you want to get rich, when I used to manage wealth at Merrill Lynch, the goal was you want to make a huge income in your first like 20, 30 years of your working life. So in your 30s, 40s, 50s. In your 60s and 70s, you want your income to go to zero because you don't want to get taxed at the income tax rate. You want to have all your money in assets because now you're paying short-term capital gains or long-term capital gains. Typically, what most Americans do is the older you get, the more you're getting paid because you've been at the job longer. Now you're retiring around 70 years old with a marginal tax rate at the highest bracket. You just cracked 100K a year, and now you're paying higher taxes. So your Social Security check that comes in is going to get taxed at that high marginal tax rate. Okay. Now, why am I saying all this? This is going to end up biting us in the ass. There's a recession coming in Q4. I wanted to provide some context. Hopefully, you guys paid attention to the recession thing I just said, because if you didn't, God help you. Okay, buy crypto. We got about 4 months left, boys and girls. I'm going to go through these trades in about like 5 minutes because I have dinner waiting for me and nothing's moving on a Sunday. We're going to do this tomorrow on the stream. Anyways, super secret magnet indicator, undefeated, undisputed. I might just spend 30 more minutes on this fucking trade right now because of how accurate this is. Next target, 2450. If you took this trade, you're welcome. If you took this trade with heavy size, buy me a car. Let's go to the next pair right here. Now, realistically, let's get down to the smaller time frames. How is gold going to continue to extend up to the 2450 range? This is not rocket surgery. Chart Addicts members, man, fuck this. Okay. Chart Addicts members, what do you see here? Type it in 8 words or less. How do I find the next trade? Put it in the Zoom chat in 8 words or less. I will be patient and I'll wait. I'll give you guys 30 seconds. How do I find the next trade for this? It can't be any easier. We got the Loch Ness Monster pattern showing its face right here. Got the neck fucking poking out right now. Make me proud, boys and girls. Christine, close, but actually, I think I'll answer it in a question. Good answer, but not for this one. We already have such an aggressive bullish expansion here, which shows that buyers not only held the zone, but also had enough interest to continue buying. So I don't think that we're going to get a liquidity grab through these lows before the move. Then again, it's gold. I don't trade gold as much as I trade Nasdaq. On Nasdaq, we're not getting duck duck goose. We're getting Model 1, since none of you guys wanted to answer in the chats. It was 2 words. Model 1. Okay? Model 1. For God's sakes, people. What part of Loch Ness Monster don't you understand? I thought I was being straightforward here. What part of neckline don't you understand? We're gonna have this consolidation right here over Tokyo. Is gonna do poke his little head out, right? Poke his little head out above the little range, right? They're in London. We're gonna wake up tomorrow morning. He's gonna have done this and this and this. I'm going to start moving up, and everyone's going to be like, Roy, I missed the trade. I was waiting for you on the stream. I don't know how I could have possibly guessed this was the right entry here after a huge liquidity grab, break, and fucking retest of the goddamn zone. I don't know how I could have caught this trade, Roy. I was waiting for you to get on the stream. So tomorrow morning, that's what's going to happen. And then we're going to have a massive expansion right at market open. So let me just go ahead and put a horizontal line here to represent the market open right here. 9 a.m. right here. And then right at market open, everyone's going to be like, oh, I missed this trade, but Roy's not on the stream yet because he's late as usual. And so I'm just going to buy it up and chase the market and break and retest because I learned this in IML. And then all of a sudden, right at market open, we're going to have this retest 88.6 from the low of that London liquidity grab to the high of the pre-New York expansion. There's going to be an 886 right there. We're going to buy it right here around, let's call it 11 a.m., right? Wild guess. I don't know how I just guessed that. Let's just call it a random guess, right? I could be wrong. I probably not going to be 11, right? It's probably going to be any other time but 11. Let's just call it 11, just imaginary. 11 a.m. We're going to get the 886 retest straight for the true trend in the direction of the market. Or none of that happens, right? Or the market just, just crashes out of the sky or something. It's just fucking just crashes all the way down here, down to the fucking 1000s, right? So those are our two options. We have a very specific pattern here. If you guys are gold traders, the entry price that you are looking for is, by the way, if you take this gold trade, you're gonna make money and you fucking owe me something. Okay. Send me a bottle to the crib. 2360. 2360 is your entry. Put your stops below the wick, preferably below this area of interest right here, because you have a temporary floor here that the market can use as a potential pullback area. So make sure your stop losses are below that area right here. And then your entry is going to be 2360. If you take this trade, um, I'll send you the PO box. Okay. Nasdaq, even easier. This is the trade from last week that never hit. Just go ahead and extend this thing over here. Delete this fib. We don't need all that stuff, right? Wow. I wonder how this is going to go. Right? A little retest here, and then just continuation to the moon. I like that. Let's go ahead and get specific because almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, not in trading. So let's go ahead and get wildly specific. Extension level 2511. It's got a ring to it, don't it? Okay. So here is lunch for this week, people. Any questions, comments? Wait. Sorry. Gotta extend the stop. Any questions, comments, concerns? This is the last trade I'm going through. This is lunch for the week. If you make money on this, again, get my PO box. Send me a fucking gift. Don't be stingy with it. Like, oh, Roy, no, I'm just gonna keep taking your trades and not giving you credit. Fuck you. All right, well, in that case, right? Drop a like on the fucking YouTube stream at least. He said, that's me. What's you? He said, here we go. Just found your channel and live. Cool. OGEXO Reaper. Uh, fucking, sorry, brother. You showed up on a day where I'm just chilling. I got my feet up. I got the sandals on. Got half a spliff rolled up, and I see a lot of opportunity for trading this week. It's going to be a very relaxed week, except for the fact that we're hosting the largest conference for traders, investors, and entrepreneurs, and so that's taking up the majority of my time, which is why I'm happy for these clean and easy trading weeks because when you have a full-time job, family, responsibilities, life, work, you're a weekend warrior playing fucking frisbee, whatever the fuck you do with your boys, you need to create a trading system that does not enslave you. Okay, because I did that where I made a lot of money, but it messed with my head. I was always inside. I was constantly at the emotional swings of winning or losing. Okay. And so I built a system that now I trade for 2 hours a day, probably three, four times a week. If that, the last couple of weeks, it's been like twice, maybe three times a week. And it fits with my schedule and my stress levels for the shit I have to do in real life. And now I can use trading as a learning and growing opportunity where I'm developing my patience, my understanding of how I react in high stress situations, my understanding of being okay with losing, being okay with losing money, my relationship with money and progress and self-sabotage and things. When you're not overwhelmed and burnt out from trading, you can use it as the learning opportunity for life that it's supposed to be. Anyone here who's ever done martial arts, if you're working yourself into a nub, you ain't learning shit. If you've ever taken a real martial art that takes patience, that you have to fucking drill for years, you understand trading. Okay. So build a system that works with your personality, schedule, and risk tolerance, and then make sure that you guys are prioritizing your mental peace and your mental health because burnout is why most traders don't make it. It's not a lack of information. It's not a lack of education. It's not a lack of, discipline or personal responsibility and shit. It's really just burnout. And you lose enough while you're in a burnt out state, you're going to give something up. And you'll come back a year later and be like, well, maybe this is for me. Don't burn out, motherfuckers. Okay? Keep yourself healthy. That's your number one job. Happy, safe trading. I'll see you guys on the live trading streams every morning at Market Open, live on YouTube. Chart Addicts members show up 30 minutes early. We're going to do morning mindset and pre-market outlook before we go live on YouTube so we can go through the sauce. Okay? So Expect the call links around 8:30 to 9. And then if you guys are watching this on YouTube, expect us to go live between 9:30 and 10 a.m. every morning, Eastern time. Okay. Oh, whoa. I made some, but lost it all too. Wasn't following the rule either. Gold and oil are insane on 500x, 5000x. I think you meant 500x. Yeah, 500x leverage. Brother, if you're trading crypto, gold, US 30, or oil on 500, 500 leverage. But what do you think I lost so much money the first 2 years of trading? I always tell this story about 2019 and 2018 and 2017 just losing money. Brother, oh, fuck, where did it go? Eagle FX was giving me 2,000 to 1, OG. 2,000 to 1 leverage, bro. Every trade I took on US 30 would blow my $200 account. All right. So leverage, double-edged sword. Make sure you guys are being responsible, and NAS 100 is the wave. Make sure you guys sign up for the masterclass. Link is in the description. Grab your tickets to the FX Summit. Happy and safe trading. Peace. Yeah, guys.